What's up, everybody, and welcome to BioS3 Raw TV. I want to kind of go through this, and I've gone through this before, but let's kind of just revisit this a little bit because I'm getting a lot of questions, and especially with new clients that sign up and they want to do a low carb or a keto diet, and they're eating like 300 to 400 grams of carbs now. And many times when a client comes to me, I'll have them track their food for 3 or 4 days, and what I notice is Monday it's 220 grams of carbs, Tuesday it's 500 grams of carbs, Wednesday, it's 330 grams of carbs. First of all, you're going to need some stability overall in your diet, okay? You can't just go from 400 to 250 to 300. I mean, you're not even progressing, whereas you're carb cycling, you're just randomly throwing shit in there. So your body is not going to adapt. It's not going to know what the fuck is going on. I know that there's like muscle confusion and confuse the body. Listen, you want your body to be adapted to the point where if you make a change, you know what's going to happen. You want your body to be as predictable as possible. So an example is when I go to bed at night, I stop drinking water around maybe 10 or 11 o'clock. When I go to bed at night, I'll literally pee throughout the night. And when I get up in the morning, I'm 6 to 7 pounds lighter. That is predictable. Every night that my body will release the water that it doesn't need while I'm asleep. I'm not in the bed. I get up and go to the bathroom. But anyways, bottom line is it's like clockwork. And when I eat certain foods, I can tell, my body's getting, fuller or my body's getting bloated. Like when I have sushi, for instance, there is a lot more sodium in the sushi. So my body's so predictable by eating the same foods every day that when I throw the sushi in there, I'm expecting the bloat. It's predictable. I'm expecting the water retention, my hands to get tighter, my hands to swell, my rings to get stuck. I know that's going to happen. So you want to make your body as predictable as possible. Now, the stability or the consistency of your diet is first and foremost. You have to be consistent. Without consistency, nothing's going to work. These guys outside with fucking weed whackers. But the bottom line is once you get that consistency, you can now start to adjust things and your body will react. So if you're eating 400 grams of carbs, dropping to 30 grams of carbs from fiber or vegetable sources, I can almost guarantee you by the second week you will fail. This is the problem that we see with keto and low carb diets is people try to transition so fast that there's such a big deficit in calories and macros in general. And, they're not really counting on the fact that the protein's probably too low when you've pulled those out to where you're not even maintaining muscle mass. You're starting to lose muscle. The signal goes to your brain that you're starving. Your body has no idea that you're doing this to it on purpose. It literally thinks there's no food. It doesn't know that you can literally go to the refrigerator and have, a chicken breast and rice and it'll be fine. It literally thinks you're dying. So it starts the hunger signal. And sometimes when the deficit is big enough, that hunger signal is almost impossible to fight off. And you have like a little bit of something. And it's not usually like chicken breast. Like your brain is starving and it's telling you, I want fast-acting carbohydrates. I want something really quick, dense energy sources. I want that shit in my body and I want it now. So what it does, send a signal. And even if you ate chicken and broccoli, you're not satisfied. It wants the sugar. It wants the fats. It wants the shit that you basically are going to want to eliminate out of your diet if you want to get leaner towards a contest prep or a wedding or whatever the fuck is going on. So bottom line is you start with your base macros, and those should be set for your goals. Protein to cover muscle needs, and whether you're growing muscle or maintaining muscle. Carbohydrate needs for energy, and fats, essential fatty acids for health in general, and so that the body is functioning properly. You don't need 120 grams of fat. You don't need 150 grams of fat. You don't need all that fat if you have stored body fat on your body. Now, this weed whacker is driving me fucking nuts outside. If you have that body fat on your body has energy source that it can use, and it technically doesn't want to because it wants to wait till you're starving. So it thinks that, shit, I'm starving. I'm going to send a signal. So if there is food, he'll go eat food. If not, we'll use the body fat. So that's why it's important to fight through that. But by reducing the calories too fast, it just becomes too strong. It's too hard to fight off for most people. And they usually wind up either breaking the diet or binging or deciding that this diet's not for me. I've heard a lot of people say, well, keto is just not for me. I'm like, well, how do you know? How long have you done it for? Well, I did it for 3 weeks. Okay, 3 weeks. What happened within that 3 weeks? And as soon as they start talking and telling me, I understand right away what's going on. I'm like, shit, this is what's happening. You're literally getting the hunger signal to your brain because you went from 400 grams of carbs to 30. And what they do is usually if they're dieting, if they're dieting for like a show or they're trying to get lean, they're doing a cut, their diet will change, the macros will change, the calories will go down, and they also usually throw in some cardio on top of it. So now you're increasing the deficit even more, energy expenditure is happening even more. So now what happens is your brain says, shit, there's a caloric deficit that I can't deal with. The energy expenditure is going up. We need to stop both of these things right now, and literally you start to get tired and grumpy and in the hunger pains. All this shit comes in, your brain's trying to slow down. It's literally trying to slow down and shut your body down so it goes to sleep, kind of hibernate until it can get some food. And you'll have these problems for about, this first and second day on the diet, you're all right. The third day, you're like, I don't feel too bad. By the end of the first week, you're like, look, this really kind of sucks, but I can deal with it. That second week is like a make or break time. That second week, either you're going to bust through it and be like, I'm the type of person that's going to stand this and I'm going to accomplish a goal, or you're going to be like, this is not for me. What should I do? And then it's like a day of dieting, a day where you kind of go off a little bit, a day where you reel it back in for half a day, and it goes back and forth till you're just like, fuck it, I'm done. So my advice to you is if you're going to start a diet or a cut, you need to find a starting point where you're at now and literally adapt to that starting point, which is what I do with every client. You adapt to a starting point. Once you're adapted, you can then make those changes and your body will react. It will become predictable. And you'll know this is what I do, this will happen. And then there's no such thing as that dreaded plateau. Plateaus do not happen. Plateaus are poor planning. And if you plateau, you basically have screwed something up somewhere to where you're not progressing and you're not predictable. Your body's not predictable, so you don't know what's going to happen next. So you don't know. You just start doing random shit. And sometimes you do nothing. I've heard people say, just ride it out. You'll break the plateau. You don't break a plateau. Something has to change in order for your body to react. Without that change, there's no reaction. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, right? You don't have the action, there's no reaction. So you have to have something in place, plan-wise, to make sure that your body reacts, and that reaction is getting you leaner and towards your goals. BioStrengthTraining@gmail.com. Leave comments down below, but don't fight. www.biostrength.com is the blog. It's the fucking predictable bicep. You knew it was coming, and we're out.